All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Composite Timeout. It is Friday, heading into the weekend, and we finish off the week. Only two episodes, but we have started the season preview for the NFL. Today, like I said yesterday, we will preview the Green Bay Packers in this episode. All right, let's get right to it. The Green Bay Packers. They are a team who is coming off of 9-8 season, and they made it all the way to the divisional round. They beat the Cowboys, lost to the 49ers by 3. They had a chance in that game, and they were in it till the end. Winnable game. I thought they had a chance to win it there last year. I don't know about you guys, but I did too. I thought they could win. Yeah. So heading into this off season, they coaching wise, Joe Barry, defensive coordinator, last year and the last couple years has left. He believe he was fired. Um, yeah, he was fired, and he ends up going and getting a job with the Dolphins, not as the defensive coordinator, but as I believe the linebackers coach, some sort. But they come around and they hire Jeff Halfley, who was previously the head coach at Boston College. So he leaves for his pro job to be a defensive coordinator. Uh, yeah, so that is the biggest like coaching change that I can think of. Uh, as far as player losses for this team, I think uh, for me, Darnell Savage, who had been there for a while, was a good piece that they had. Obviously, he's not this like world beater. John Runyon Jr., that was a big loss for me, I think, for them. Uh, Devondre Campbell, big loss for me. He was a good, but I think they're going a different direction with the defense. So, yeah, that's not going to matter, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Uh, and then I guess Bakhtiari is not that big of a loss because he hasn't played as much the last few years. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Additions. They also let go of um can't think of his name right now. Aaron Jones. Sorry. Those weren't big losses. Like Aaron Jones is starting to, you can kind of tell he's starting to wear out. If you're a fantasy player, yeah. So they did make some um, moves. Did they have two big signings in the free agency? Josh Jacobs. They released Aaron Jones and just signed Josh Jacobs. Nice upgrade. In the backfield there, they keep AJ Dillon. They re-signed him. So two pretty decent backs there that they keep. Jacobs is an upgrade from uh, Aaron Jones. They also signed safety Xavier McKinney, which you know makes up overly for letting go of Darnell Savage. So that wasn't a big loss if you really think about it. It cancels, not cancels out, but it's a positive there. In the draft, they didn't sign anybody else big. This is the Green Bay Packers. They don't really go crazy in free agency, but they had two big signings. In the draft, they added Jordan Morgan, offset tackle from Arizona in the first round. So a nice little piece. And then during the offseason, actually recently, last month, just a few weeks ago, both of them separately, not at the same time, but they extended Kenny Clark, big staple at defensive tackle there for them. The last, I don't know, it's 6, 7 seasons, almost something like that. And then they re-signed extended their basically their future at quarterback in Jordan Love. Just actually last week, maybe beginning of this week, actually, for being really, I think it was like Saturday or Friday, one or two. But yes, Jordan Love is locked up, and the Green Bay Packers can begin their march onto the season. Uh, all right, so this team, obviously, they have a chance to build on what they did last season. 9-8, and they make that run. I can see them being. I actually have them as my pick to win the division. I'm putting that out there right now in this preview podcast. I think they'll win the division. I think this team is really good, but I don't think they're like. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if they're like, oh my god, they're so good, but they're really, really good. They're gonna have some competition with the Lions, which is the team that uh, be previewing in a few episodes. And yes, they are. I believe they are switching to more of a 4-3, if I'm not mistaken, in this defense with this new defensive coordinator. So it's gonna look more like a 4-3. Uh, so yeah. So that's gonna be a switch. I think, like I said, Kenny, they got Rashawn Gary, they got a Kenny Clark, uh, Clark on the inside, Gary on the outside. So they have, Preston Smith, Wall on the outside. They have the Luke Van Ness they drafted a few years ago. So they have the players to switch over to this 4-3. They'll be fine. Linebackers, obviously, Quay Walker gets to be uh, the number one middle linebacker there in his third year, taking over that step. Uh, Jay Alexander, Xavier McKinney in the defensive backfield. Eric Stokes, another year with the Packers. Uh, he's formidable. Uh, so I think defensively, this team is going to be okay. There might be some building, some growing pains because this is a new defense. Even though they have the personnel to do it, the first couple of weeks might look a little shaky. Doesn't mean that they're going to lose those games, but uh, defensively, offensively, uh, obviously Jordan Love's back. He had the season that he had, a breakout season last year. We'll see if he can continue it. That would be my biggest question mark. Uh, can he have a follow up year? Uh, can this group of receivers, who are a bunch of, I mean, I'm not saying this, they're a bunch of guys. They're very talented bunch of guys. I'm not dismissing the guys, but there isn't a star. But this is kind of in a way how the Packers like it. So they have Romeo Dobbs, they have Christian Watson, and they got Jaden Reed. That would be the top three for me with them. So, and they'll probably mix in some of the other guys because that's what they do. So this offense, another year, uh, under Jordan Love, see if he can add to it. Another year of these receivers growing with Jordan, and Matt LaFleur has been there. I always think that it starts at the top. I've said that a lot in our previews. If you have stability there, Matt LaFleur has been there for a while. So everybody knows the system. Everybody knows his way of going about things. So there's not going to be a figuring out period. So that is always good heading into a season, honestly. So I think this offense, I don't know if they'll probably be top 10, maybe at the bottom half of the top 10. Being top 10 is great. There's 32 teams. Not trying to diss them by saying maybe bottom of the top 10, but this will be a pretty good offense. Uh, by the end of the season, this will be a pretty good defense, barring injuries, obviously. But I picked them to win the division at, I want to say, maybe like 11-6 or 12-5, honestly, looking at their schedule. Yeah, something like that. But I picked them to win the division. Yeah, said it here on the preview pod. I picked the Packers to win the division uh, this season coming up. So don't put money on it, but this is my prediction. Uh, anyways, so yeah, that is the Packers look in good shape heading into the season. Obviously, with any team that we are previewing, obviously all of these predictions, all of these things, obviously are all predicated on health and not a lot, like not a lot of injuries and people staying healthy, and then people being able to step up with depth. And this is just obviously like I said, this is how the Green Bay Packers operate. They don't really sign a lot of people in free agency. They sign too big, and then they go back to their thing. They either re-sign their people or they go to the draft, and that's how they have always made their their thing. They end up with 11 draft picks by the end of the draft. So, and they touched on both sides of the ball. So this is the Packers, and I think they're going to win the division. But it's going to be a fun watch with them in the lines, who I will be, like I said, previewing soon in a few episodes. But yeah, that was our Green Bay Packers preview. Uh, well, nice and short, quick. Not something too crazy. The Enjoy the weekend. The Olympics are on, baseball's on. So there was football yesterday. Uh, I didn't really watch it. I don't really like watching the Fall of Fame game. I tuned in for a second just to see the fact that football was back, but I didn't feel the need to watch it because it was already announced. I know the starters were playing, and that's who I really want to see and evaluate. So Caleb Williams wasn't playing. None of the Texans were playing, so I didn't watch. Sorry, but yeah, enjoy the weekend. Have fun. Watch some sports. Watch the Olympics. Whatever you want. Sports related. It doesn't have to be the Olympics. Baseball, whatever. But we'll be back Monday. We'll be previewing the Vikings on Monday. And then Tuesday, we'll be previewing the Lions. And we're done with the NFC North. And we'll continue all the way out leading up to the season. So until next time, thanks for tuning into the Competition Timeout. Peace.